media.
Welcome to the 330 The Go Sports Talk Show on Northeast Ohio's hottest and fastest growing news and entertainment media network.
Good morning, 330. It's here. It's Tuesday. It's what do we got? January 30th. Matt McGaugh signing in as always on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. Right now, actually going on to my social media, sharing this out. While I'm doing it, I think you should do the same. So whatever social media platform you're listening to, go to the bottom, click them, highlight them. There's a bunch of them at the bottom. Put this out there so more people can comment and share in on the joy. Don't be selfish. It's not just all for you, right? So right now, yep, there we go. All right, so I'm shared out. We're rolling. 330 to go sports talk show. If you caught Thursday's show, oh boy, did apparently I make some kind of comment or some kind of take. I think it's more of a take. Like it's all your opinion. That's kind of how we base everything off the show is I'm just seeing stuff and I'm giving you a take. You like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. If you don't, or you do like it, call in. How do you call in? Go down to the comment section. It should be right there in the comments. I believe we're going to end up posting it there. Let's see. Somebody will help me out with that here in a second, I'm sure. But if not, it's also in the description. And go in, click on it, follow it, jump on, give me a call. But like Mike had just said, I struck a nerve. And the nerve was after seeing all the comment section and boy, I think my favorite one was you've made it when you're like a low end podcast and you're hitching onto your wagon. It was something like that. Thank you. He at least acknowledged that this is kind of like a podcast talk show. So that's cool. At least somebody recognized it. The take was just to give a perspective. No way, shape, or form do I think Caitlin Clark is a bad basketball player. She is trend setting. She's Steph Curry of college basketball. But I think when you, again, looking at everything, what's a flop? What constitutes a flop? A flop has been named because our buddy, our own Akron native, LeBron gets dinged a lot on that, supposedly that he flops. Anderson Varejao flopped for years, and we loved it. It's one of those things. A person who flops is that person you don't want on. You want them on your team and you hate when you're playing against them. Just can't stand it. But a flop is meant to bring and highlight a moment. That's the perspective that I have. So exaggeration of the moment to bring attention to it so that a referee will blow his whistle or a referee will think that there was pass interference. A flop's kind of taken on a whole, it's exaggeration. Well, if you watch that, that's how I took it. And someone had mentioned if you could slow it down and everything. I saw that clip. I pulled it. I didn't slow anything down. Someone else had, obviously. But I love the points that somebody else made. That's why they have instant replays to slow it down and get things exactly correct, to put everything in perspective. But girls basketball doesn't get talked about enough. Caitlin Clark is completely changing that, along with a plethora of other ladies in NCAA basketball are really doing a lot. That is even rolling into the professional. So girls basketball doesn't get enough attention. Girls sports in general doesn't. I honestly think that. So in no way, shape, or form, I'm just clarifying, do I think Caitlin's bad? But you're not going to change my opinion. If you understand what I think a flop is, then that's why I called it a flop. She manipulated and exaggerated the moment. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. But the comments in there, they got lively. Yes, I am bald. I don't like to think that I'm fat. I was called that. That hurt my feelings, not gonna lie. But I think I want to bring attention. If people are calling me it, that's one thing. I gave the comment. I opened myself up for that. I completely get that. I just don't want to see anybody being mean to each other in the comment section. So if you're listening, you're a part of it. Let's try to be nice. Let's play along with everybody in the sandbox. But at the end of the day, it's not an Ohio State, Iowa thing, even though we had some Iowa fans chiming in. Iowa, I hope you're still listening. No, you guys got one of the best players of all times in there. And but Caitlin also has been a part of that. I think anybody who beats Iowa this year almost has probably stormed the court because it's an upset in most senses. So it's not like she hasn't seen that. So she should have been aware, but it's nevertheless, it's a scary situation for her. She just did get done playing a game. I get it. What do your looks have to do with your opinion? I don't know. That was what was told to me. Somebody had told me that apparently it would anybody who would have a judgment against Caitlin and this thought pattern or my intelligence level. Oh, people are ridiculous. I know. Well, Mike, I appreciate the intelligence level. You're probably giving me a little more credit than I deserve. I'm pretty realistic, I think, for the most part. I think like anybody typically who acts like they know what they're talking about will say that, right? So, yeah, FOS, right? So, anyways, Caitlin Clark, great athlete. Be nice in the comments section. It's still a flop. I'm sticking by it. It's an exaggeration. It's a flop. Thank you for everybody who chimed in. It was good stuff. I like it. High school sports, tickers rolling at the bottom. A lot of games over the weekend. A few of them that we'll probably talk about here as we get into Springfield and Coventry. 52-45. The Spartans pick up a win. Cuyahoga Falls 63 over Copley 40. CVCA 78, East 49. Marlington beats Alliance 70-60. This game right here I thought was real interesting. St. Ignatius, a little bit up north of us, but they came down, played Bookdale 55-46. Great game, obviously. Iggy is one of the top teams in the state right now, but Bookdale, I mean, defending state champs, watch out there. They're starting to get primed up. St. Ed's, Louisville. Everybody who's not on Louisville, how are they in there? They've played some really great basketball this year, and 55-62. They lose against Eds, but that's a quality showing for Louisville. And I think that really puts everything in perspective when we get into the playoffs. And these two might run into each other because they're both sitting in Division I. Northwest 69 over Orville 60, and Fairless boys over Tuslaw 31-30. So that wraps up for the boys part of it. Now on the girls side, we had Wadsworth 27, Lake 26, Chippewa 70 over Woodridge 51, McKinley 58 over Perry 46, Lake edging out Green 56-47. Glen Oak girls beat Hoover 31-20. Canton South picks up a win 52 over Tuslaw 50. Close one right there. Warren Harding 40 over the Massillon Tigers 36. So another close one right there. Marlington 51 over Louisville girls 49, and Jackson 54 over Streetsboro. So a lot going on there in high school sports with girls and boys basketball. Another thing I wanted to touch base on as I'm moving some of my notes around here. We had some 1,000 point, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, I was looking for a word. Last week, we talked about Brady Rollison from Green. He hit the 1,000 point mark. We had a few other ones. Jonas Nichols from Hoban becomes the all-time leading scorer there. He had 1,000 points total in his career. So congratulations to the senior. I believe he's going to Kent State next year. But what's even more impressive is the junior from CVCA, Joy Williams. Now she's a junior and she has got the Royals 14-2, but she also, if I'm understanding this correctly, had 1,000 points as well. So I'm really impressed by the junior who did it. Nothing against Jonas, nothing against anybody. I don't even think I scored 10 points ever in high school. So talking down, I'm not about anybody with 1,000, but as a junior, and that's amazing. So big shout out to Joy Williams from CVCA. Congratulations, young lady. That's quite an accomplishment, and looking forward to seeing the Royals continue the success out there on the hard court. Also, rolling it back a little bit, still touching back into high school football. I know that we had last week, we talked about some of the volleyball nominees for the sports award show that'll be coming up. We are now putting out some for defensive player of the year. And these names on here, you heard us talk about quite often throughout the year. Devin Bell, senior from Hoban, has been nominated. Chase Bond, senior from Massillon, nominated. David Howersat from Walsh Jesuit, senior as well, was nominated. Jordan Pritchard Sewell from Hoban. This is not even, I was going to say a kid. He's not a kid. He's a grown man, and he is a phenomenal athlete. Believe he's going to Holy Name, if I remember that correctly. Anchored that night defensive line all year long. Just a tear in the middle. Noah Robinson from Talmadge Jr. got on there. Mike Shaw from Green. If anybody's had a chance to see Mike Shaw from Green, you definitely know what is in store for next year. That's definitely going to be one of the top names around. High motor out of that kid. Michael Wright Jr. from Massillon. Cody Fair from Massillon as well. Shakur Hatcher from McKinley. And I know Mike's probably, if he's listening, because he commented on here, he's probably going to yell at me that I just butchered that name. I apologize, Mike. Eli Lee Jr. out of Hoban, the Ohio State offer linebacker, another athlete that was a lot of fun to watch. Dorian Pringle, he had the big play in the corner of the end zone. Massillon's still celebrating that, I think, right now. There's still a chicken running right down Tuscaroras, I believe, as Massillon was just, celebrating their state championship. But Dorian Pringle was one that definitely anchored that, had a big stop in the corner of the end zone. We had Keegan Sell from Garrettsville Garfield, another name that came up quite often as the G-men made a run. Ricky Williams from Hoban, senior. Dan Boren from Central Catholic. Albert Hill, the fourth from Hoban. John Keogh, the Buffalo commit from Walsh Jesuit, is on here as well. Followed up with two juniors, Antonio Martin from Green. We've all heard that name. Another fun athlete that's going to be really interesting to follow next year as he enters his senior year. And Keith Quincy from McKinley. So that wraps up. Congratulations to all those young gentlemen for getting the opportunity to be nominated for Defensive Player of the Year. And they'll be announcing those awards. I believe it was in June. So you'll hear me. Shaq Hatcher. Mike said Shaq Hatcher. I'm sorry. They had a different name. No, they had that name on here. Shakir. Maybe that's his nickname. It's like I'm Matthew, but some people call me Matt. I don't know. That's how I would look at it. So congratulations, guys. Moving along. Last night, everyone makes a big post. Mobley's back. And did he have a game for a guy who only played, I think it was 20 minutes? He ended up with 10 points and 9 rebounds. We have missed that desperately. Plays 20 minutes, almost pulls in a double-double. The Cavs edge out the Clippers 118-108. Kawhi Leonard threw a nice little 30-piece up there with 8 rebounds. But Donovan Mitchell, not just the 28 points, the 12 assists. And I love the guy who passes the ball. I'm a huge Stockton fan, always have been. And if we're talking Cleveland, I mean, who would you say was the best assist point guard in Cavs history? I know everyone immediately might go to a Mark Price, but I mean, Terrell Brandon was smooth, and Bobby Sura. I know no one doesn't give enough credit to Florida State phenom. If my one buddy Michael is watching, he is 100% going to go Ricky Williams. I know that. Or was it Ricky Davis? I'm sorry, Ricky Davis, the guy who tried to get a triple-double by throwing the ball off the backboard. And God, if anybody remembers that was a pretty comical moment. So anyways, Mitchell, 28 points, 12 assists. I love that. And then Allen chips in a 20-point, 17 rebound. Really? That is just smooth. So the Cavs starting to play some great basketball. I was bummed. I had a friend that messaged me and asked me if I wanted to go to the game last night. I couldn't. I would have loved to. Brevin Knight. Joe says Brevin Knight. Wow, there's a name. He went to Kentucky, correct? I think he was a Kentucky guy. Yeah, I believe he was. I don't know. I'm Googling off the top of my my head. So there goes that intelligence again. So I can probably now see why people are questioning my intelligence. So Cavs, big win, 118 over 108. So Cavs rolling right along. NFL news. Your Cleveland Browns are bringing in Ken Dorsey. Yeah, Ken Dorsey. And I'm hearing such a mixed review on this because people want to knock him. because he got fired in Buffalo. Well, if you go back and look at the whole string of those wins and losses in Buffalo, and more or less the losses, Ken Dorsey wasn't putting up bad numbers as an offensive coordinator. And in all honesty, if he's going to take the play calling away completely from Stefanski, which that's to believe and to be expected, right? Well, I'm okay with that. I think Stefanski did a nice job of motivating the team that was dinged up. We talked about that. We went down that. We're going to continue to probably talk about that. But it's time to pass that play sheet over. If I see Stefanski, I mean, he does this a lot, and you always wonder what he's saying. Like, what is he saying? He ain't saying anything. Just Stefanski drove me nuts as a play caller at times, but as a motivator, the guy that kept the nucleus together and found ways to take pieces and parts and add them in and, make the run that they did and even making the playoffs. Now looking back, could you really imagine the Cleveland Browns being in that game, that AFC championship game that would have not been in Baltimore? It would have been in Kansas City. Do the Browns show up better against a KC team that is rolling and just hot? Like 5 weeks ago, we're looking back and saying, KC's bounced. They might not even get out of the first round. Are they even going to make, the playoffs is looking sketchy for them. Kelsey's getting old. We're tired of Taylor Swift. She's on every 5 minutes. And we'll get to that here in a second, because guess what, people? If you're annoyed with how it's been going, you're not going to like the next 2 weeks. Tay is going to be everywhere. There are people right now that are trying to figure out how they're going to get her back from Tokyo over. And there's a 17-hour difference. That's what we immediately go to. But I'll get to that in a second. But KC picks up the win. And if you listen to me in the bets, if you go back and rewatch, your boy went 4 for 4. I hit the KC call, taking KC in the points. We hit the under, which was 44.5. The Detroit +7, you know how that shook out, and they definitely went over 50.5. So if you listen to those for once, I got it right. So 4 for 4. I'll take that any day of the week. I enjoyed it, and I actually listened to myself. I didn't actually just talk about it and not do it. MGM was great this week. I enjoyed that. So everyone's talking about Taylor Swift, Kelsey. Can someone talk about this man having 11 receptions for 116 yards and a touchdown? You're not stopping them. He's getting older. He's what, 32, 33, I believe. Maybe he just had a birthday. That's getting up there in age. Still doing it at a high level. The guy who matched him, and someone had put it out early in the week, and it was just a receiver from each one of the remaining 4. If you could start a franchise with one of these receivers, which one would have it been? And it was Flowers, St. Brown, Rashid Rice, and Deebo Samuels. Deebo was the big pick, but I think that's more name. Deebo, in my opinion, great athlete, but oh, look, it's the bald guy that Iowa fans now hate. Yeah, see, thanks. Appreciate that. Look at that. That's nice. There you go. Okay. We had talked about it. We were trying to move on. I was trying to be nice with him. Play peacemaker. Nope. There's the pot stirrer right there. Thanks for putting a little bit of seasoning on that. I can only assume that was probably my friend Hank. As always, Hank in Akron. Thanks for the comment, bud. There on 330. But what I was saying was Samuels was the favorite. He's constantly dinged up, hurt. I'm taking Zay Flowers always. If anybody's watched him all year, the way they're shifting him out of the backfield, gets out, it's a perfect piece for Lamar. Though, Lamar, what did you really want out of Lamar in that game? Lamar had to be the Lamar that could potentially get injured. He rushed, I think it was for, what did I have him down at? 54 yards or something like that? Yeah, 54 yards. Okay. You really can't knock him on that. Zay Flowers, though, he went for, where did I write that down? Gosh dang, 5 receptions, 115 yards. That's why I'm taking Zay Flowers. Catching a lot of balls behind the backfield, does a lot of things after he gets that. It's that yak. If you know anything about yak, it's that yards after the reception. That's exactly yards after catch. I get it. Everyone's sitting there right now thinking in the acronym, like, oh, that's not what he said. Yak doesn't mean that. But yak, yards after catch. So regular season Lamar is a Bugatti. Now, playoff Lamar is a Hugo. Poor guy. I like Lamar. I do. It's not. How do you bet against Mahomes? Mahomes, that touchdown in the corner. Actually, Kelsey had 2 touchdowns. I apologize. He had the one in the corner by the pylon. That was one of the toughest throws. I don't think people quite realize when you have a 6'3" Hamilton. And if you're Browns, remember, Hamilton's the guy who knocked the ball down at the beginning of the game and scored the touchdown. You're like, oh my God, the game that Browns did come back and win. But Hamilton, one of the top coverage corners or safeties in, especially for the Ravens, 6'3" on Kelsey, you're taking that matchup any day. But if you had a chance, did you see before the game when Kelsey went after Justin Tucker and took all of his stuff and chucked it? And so if you didn't have a chance and it's been out there, Holmes is warming up. Justin Tucker's stretching. He's got his little tee, which triangular. The rod goes out, holds the ball. That's sitting there. A football's there. And it's at the goal line. So by NFL rules, and I looked it up, watched a couple of videos and stuff of people's perspective. Actually listened to Justin Tucker's perspective. He came out and said, don't make it a big deal. But it's free for all there. Anybody can go anywhere. So there's this conversation as Tucker, does he do this before every game and mess with people? And that really didn't tend to be the case. It was that he put it down there and he wouldn't move it. And I like what Kelsey did. He walked up, took Tucker's stuff, threw it. I don't want my quarterback accidentally stepping on that. But Mahomes was also being himself, where he's not backing down. It was like this little tug of war. But I'm like, all right, here's Mahomes and Kelsey picking on a kicker. Like, the poor guy. I mean, kickers can't catch a break. But I like it because that's honestly probably their biggest weapon. Because Lamar, for the most part, should always be able to get you down inside of field goal range, and Tucker can basically boot a 60-yarder. So, yeah, get into his mind. Some mind games with Tucker. It worked out 17-10. That sure felt like that could have been a game-winning field goal kind of a game if Baltimore would have been able to get in there, but they didn't. And then Kelsey and Taylor get to celebrate, and then everybody loses their mind because at the end of the day, I get the joke about Taylor Swift. She's probably shown a total of, let's just be really, really big with the number, 10 minutes a game. I think that's a big number too, because there's always these little 10-second clips. So let's say 10 minutes. She's shown that many times. Anybody out there have a daughter? I guarantee you she likes Taylor Swift. You've listened to it. If you don't have a daughter and you turn on the radio, Taylor Swift's on every 10 minutes. It's a new song. I don't care what you're on. She is on the oldies station. She's on hard rock. She's on country. As soon as she cracks through and does a freestyle with, I don't know, Little Uzi or something, where she'll be on 88.107. I mean, it'll be nuts. But guys, if your kids or your daughters are getting excited, my daughter knew more about that Kansas City game, and it wasn't just like when Taylor came on. She knew stats about the game, and I was like shocked. And I'm not going to push that on her, like, oh, Taylor's on there, so you have to pay attention and understand what a first time. No, just she wanted to watch. She watched for 5 seconds, whatever. That's cool. She actually knew what was going on. She's like, Dad, can you believe they called that penalty on that Flowers guy? Now, that to me, I was like, that's awesome. So if Taylor's bringing it in, I think everybody saw the number out there. She's pulling in millions of dollars. So the scripted, except the script was supposed to be Eminem. Our boy Eminem was supposed to be in Vegas, and that would have been a phenomenal experience to see Eminem gesturing the bird at Taylor Swift to box Loges over. Could you imagine that? and then all of a sudden Usher's down there doing his thing, and boom, here comes Eminem with an elbow. He's straight. He looks at Kanye like, this is how you just move Taylor right off the stage. I'm going to show you what I would do to Usher. So Will Smith him, and then boom, Eminem's performing. We bring out Taylor, and that's like the best Super Bowl ever. But that's not the case, because now we have San Francisco in there, and they win 34-31 as they come back. The biggest mistake that I had was I was looking at a moment when the San Francisco 49ers were +9, and I wanted to take it. And the odds at the moment when they were down 17 for them to win the Super Bowl were like +900. I was like, oh, and I looked at it. I almost put $1 on it. And I didn't, but that's neither here nor there. Jared Goff, the guy that everybody's cast away to Detroit, only goes and does 25 for 41 for 273 and a touchdown. What do you want from a guy that they shipped out that they didn't think was going to do anything? The running game for Detroit was strong. Montgomery, 93 yards. Gibbs had 45. And the guy that everybody better be drafted next year in fantasy football, Laporta, the tight end from Detroit, only throws down 9 receptions for 97 yards. Huge piece of that Detroit offense. Detroit is going to be fun. I really wanted to see them. They're young. They came out and looked like the most experienced team that they were all year long. And then it's like they walked into halftime and they just thought that Niners team was going to lay down. If that Niners team doesn't come back and they continue to lay down, is that viewed as like one of the biggest flops in history? There's too much talent on that Niners team. There's so many quality football names on there that you're not shocked that's a team that could come back and win. So McCaffrey does his job, picks up 90 on the ground. Brock Purdy, that guy, you might, if they win the Super Bowl and he beats Mahomes, Brock Purdy is definitely starting off as that quarterback that you're gonna hear potential Brady talk. The guy's got a demeanor about him, just very calm and collective. The running game that he actually had, he ran for 48 yards, which he pretty much had the same amount of yards that Lamar did, but he goes 20 of 31 for 267. So Brock Purdy getting the job done, doesn't falter, brings back the Niners over the Lions 34-31. And now we have that matchup. And I forgot we saw this matchup 3 years ago, 2019, I believe it was. Garoppolo against Mahomes. So we've already seen KC, the Niners. Not exciting. Points on the road. Oh, always kick the field goal. So Joe had put kick the field goal earlier. We were talking about Detroit, and then someone had commented back, points on the road always. Campbell that's what got them there. That's exactly what got the Detroit Lions there, is Dan Campbell's ability to not be scared and go for it. And he's been scrutinized all year long. So I think Dan Campbell is a little past caring. He was being aggressive. Everything's always in hindsight. I don't fault him at all. I like it. He knew it. He felt it. Somebody had came out, and I think it was Kittle was talking about momentum. And somebody had said that there was some report out there that momentum's not like a real thing in sports. And Kittle had said, that's the dumbest thing he's ever heard, because when they came out, got the stop and scored and then got the turnover, he was like, it's all like, yeah, as a team, if I'm out there and we're down 17 and we score a touchdown and we get a big turnover, that was a huge turnover. Gibbs coughed that ball up and it wasn't even close. Yeah, well, I mean, that's a huge swing. They go and score, and now you're down. I don't even care if you're down 10 going into the fourth quarter. The Niners can put up points quick. But Detroit, as much as we want to sit and say about the offense, for San Fran doing their job and having a key turnover and being able to get in there, Detroit's defense didn't do a bad job at all. When Brock Purdy's rolling for 50 yards on the ground, I think you're going to live with that, because you're trying to keep the ball out of Ayuk and Samuels' hands. Detroit lost that game. It was theirs to be had. Absolutely it was. Detroit was It stunk. And you wanna know what the worst part is? I fell asleep, um, when the Niners tied it up. I was out. It was too late. It was past my bedtime. Um, I was rather winded that day. I had went up and down the flight of stairs like 5 or 6 times, and if anybody had gotten to see any comments, I sweat profusely apparently when going up flights of stairs. So I was a tuckered out little guy going up on. Couldn't make it past 9:30, and yeah, that's a dig. If everybody should go back and just read those comments. Still butthurt about it, I guess you should say, like over here whining. That was one of the suggestions. Another suggestion someone told me was not sitting as close. Apparently, I got to figure that out, but I'm like right up in your face, and Mike's here and stuff. So maybe that's probably, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I do look kind of fat. Whatever. So if anybody didn't have a chance to go and listen, go back, check it out. The coolest thing about this show is you're going to catch it later in the day. You're going to catch it at some point during the week. It's okay. You're catching up. It's going back. It's like people who have encyclopedias from 1990. Why do you have them? They're there. In case you ever want to go back, you pull the information, and that's where it's at. And that's what you can do with us. Anytime, go back, hit on the videos, scroll down 330. Do a lot of different real stuff like that. That's always cool. Guys, I'm not lying. It's been a busy week. Busy week in real estate. I'm going to be doing some other stuff on my personal page this week. Check that out. I have a listing going up, a couple of under contract this week. What I'm trying to say is if you're thinking about buying for spring, it's time. I know it's January 30th and you're thinking, get to that around June, July. You better start now because interest rates are dropped and all that stuff. So as you guys know, realtor by nature, sports talk wannabe podcaster on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Guys, if you're thinking about buying, selling, any of that, give me a call. Always happy to help you guys with anything. Here we go. We had quit letting people fat shame you. Dad bods are in and you wear it well. You know what, Matt? I appreciate you, brother, for saying that. It just take the flop. Why don't we have that too? I don't. So the take the flop was from earlier, but Matt was saying that. Matt, I appreciate it. I'm having fun. Stuff doesn't bother me. Like I said, I'd rather have it said to me than to other people, because it's all perspective and people. That's the great thing. Again, it's 330. We're talking sports. We're talking national sports. You want to talk about it? Come on here and talk. I don't know how many times I could say that. I need you guys to start calling in. You need to start taking the time just to click a like, a share, a follow, a repeat, a dislike. Even if you are annoyed and you don't think I should be on here, hit that angry face. Hit the angry face. All right. I'll take whatever I can get. All right. So help a brother out. Guys, every Tuesday and Thursday, you 100% should. You should. So Matt, mark it down. Thursday morning, 9 o'clock. Katie, you call in during baseball season. Let's go with that. I thought you were a giant. Thank you. Because I was like right up on it. Exactly. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah. And it was definitely a flop, and Matt was agreeing. So we got comments rolling in left and right there. I appreciate that, guys. Tuesdays, Thursdays, 9 o'clock. Let's come back here. Thursday, we'll be back talking. Who knows what we'll be talking about? Hopefully we have some high school sports, or it sounds like someone might be calling in. Either way, guys, I appreciate you allowing me to jump on here and talk as always. Thanks again, 330, for listening, and we will see you on Thursday.